You're listening to a special presentation from Night of the Living podcast, Zoned Out, the Twilight Zone, revisited with Joe and Freddy. Oh, Joe.
Hi, Freddy.
Oh, man, it feels like we haven't seen each other in ages.
I know. It's been forever. I was looking, I'm looking over your shoulder, listeners. We'll never probably do a video podcast, but I see the Jaws poster, and it just it makes me smile, just always.
It's
so
it's
happy.
still my favorite movie. I'm pretty much a basic bitch in that respect, as the I think Jaws is the most popular favorite movie.
Yeah.
Of people of our generation. I think it's probably at the top. Star Wars, maybe a close second.
It's so good, you know?
It's just a fantastic. It's like perfect.
Yeah. That's like people say, the handful of perfect films. But yeah, just it's like the Twilight Zone to me. It's just you think about it and you're like, oh, happy.
Yeah.
Feels good.
I even like Jaws too. Which a lot of people don't.
I feel like I haven't seen it nearly as much, and I think when the last time I watched it, I was like, I don't know if I've ever seen this. So,
it's worth revisiting. It's a pretty good movie. Again, it's just a rehash of the first one, but it's a good movie. 3 and 4 are not so much good movies, but I'm a Jaws fan. I'll watch anything.
I can't think of his name, with the spectacles and the
testicles and the wallet and the watch. You're talking about Hooper? Hooper's not in it. He is working in the second one. He is off working on some sort of research expedition. That's how they explain him not being there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I could just talk about Jaws all day. But we're talking about Mr. Dingle the Strong.
Yes. And I made a joke last week. Mr. Dingle. Yeah. I can't get it out of my head.
Anyone over 40 should get that joke, right? The Arrested Development. Arrested Development was a great band.
Yeah, they were.
Tennessee, right? Didn't they also do
Tennessee? Yeah.
So good. So Mr. Dingle the Strong aired March 3rd, 1961. 6th of 12 episodes, directed by John Brom, who did Time Enough at Last, the first Burgess Meredith episode.
Nice.
This is written by Serling. 2 cinematographers credited, which is weird. I don't know, up to this point, I don't think we've had episodes where there's no cinematographer credited because the shot on tape, the first one of those. But this one has a second cinematographer named William V. Scall, which I thought was kind of weird. It's just a weird piece of trivia. I don't know what he did, Anyway, I couldn't find a lot about him, but cast of 17 in this one, so pretty big cast. Luther Dingle, second appearance by Burgess Meredith. Like I said, Time Enough at Last. We'd already seen him. He's going to appear in 2 other episodes when we get to those. If you want to know more about him, listen to the Time Enough at Last episode we did. But he's an iconic actor.
Such a great actor, yeah. What a name too, Burgess. Who names their kid Burgess?
Burgess
what is that?
Meredith, yeah. It's a weird name, yeah. Is it?
And his voice is so distinctive when you hear it. It's just like, that's not anybody else,
Yes, absolutely. I loved him in everything he did. He's one of those actors that if you grew up in the 70s and 80s, he's in at least one of your favorite movies. He's in Rocky, Clash of the Titans, just tons of other stuff like Burnt Offerings, all kinds of great movies.
Day of the Locust,
yeah. Then we have Anthony O'Toole, only appearance by James Westerfield. He was known for On the Waterfront and True Grit and Hang 'em High. He's if you're into Disney movies at all, and the 50s, 60s ones, like the Shaggy Dog and the Absent-Minded Professor and the Flubber movies, all that shit, he's usually the cop who sees something and goes like, oh, what? Yeah, he's that guy, James Westerfield. But he's also kind of like a tough, obviously he's in these other movies where he's kind of a tough guy. And he has to be kind of a big tough guy in the story here a little bit. because poor little Burgess Meredith, the ding man, is getting picked on. But
the dingster,
the dingster. We have Joseph J. Callahan. This is the only appearance by Eddie Ryder. He also, the reason I noted him in particular was he was in another movie in '79. It's like a raunchy comedy, and the title's called Up Yours. And now I have to find that shit. Is all I'm saying, because it looks friggin' great. If you like, hard R comedies.
Up yours, children.
Up yours. The first Martian in this episode, this is Douglas Spencer. It's the only time he's going to show up on this show. But what's really cool about Douglas Spencer is he's in The Thing from Another World, which is a fantastic, one of my favorite horror sci-fi movies that inspired John Carpenter's The Thing. This Island Earth, which is the movie that Mystery Science Theater, they cover in the Mystery Science Theater 3000, the movie. He's nice. In that. And he was in The Diary of Anne Frank, which is a movie a lot of people saw in school. So you might know his face if you're into sci-fi or if you went to school in the 80s when they would show you The Diary of Anne Frank.
Or if you went to school.
If you went to school. If you showed up for class.
For kids.
Yeah, for the children. This was his final acting role in this episode. He died on the 6th of October, 1960 at the age of 50. So he died 4 months before the episode aired. So,
wow.
Yeah. Young guy. Sad. But not as young for 1960. You know, our lifespans it's amazing in such a short time have increased dramatically. Then we have the second Martian. This is Michael Fox, who was also in Nightmare as a Child, the other episode of Twilight Zone, and he's going to come back in the 85 reboot. But what's fun about him is he's the reason that Michael J. Fox has to have a J in his name.
Yes.
The first Venusian character. Now, these are the kids that are the smaller aliens at the end of the episode. This is the only appearance by former child actor Donald Losby, and the other one is Gregory Irvin. Nothing. This is basically what they did. No career after this. So they didn't. It doesn't seem like they caught the bug, or maybe the industry didn't take to them. But the only other particulars I wanted to mention was Jason Abernathy, that character. This is the second of 3 appearances by James Milholland, who was in the After Hours. That character is the kind of TV host character in this, and in the After Hours, he's the incredulous store manager.
We talked about him a lot that last in the After Hours. He's very, very distinctive style and affect, and he's great.
Really, really great. Yeah. The other one was The Better. That it's Don Rickles.
Don Rickles.
And we all know Don Rickles.
Yes.
Now, if you're younger, for some reason you're listening to this, you're an oddball, which is great. Don't change. Keep watching the Twilight Zone. But Don Rickles is kind of the first kind of roasting. When I say roasting, as in like the Friars Club roast kind of comedian. He's a ball busting post vaudeville kind of guy, and he was also in Tales from the Crypt. So he has some other kind of horror and sci-fi cred and some interesting movies in his resume. But Don Rickles does a Blu-ray commentary on the episode.
He does?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's really cool. Thanks again, Kyle, for the Blu-rays. They're fantastic. So just a few things before we get into the story. We mentioned this last week that there was a lot of people smoking in the Odyssey of Flight 33, and it's in this episode, it's the same story. And that's because they had a sponsor. I don't know what cigarette company it was. If I had to shot in the dark, I'd say it was probably something like Lucky Strikes or Pall Mall at the time.
Right.
Were very popular, and they did a lot of advertising. But the company demanded that everybody had cigarettes in their hands. I'm surprised they didn't give them to the kids.
Well, they did have very deep voices, so
yeah,
we'll get to that in a second.
The Venusians come out smoking.
I also want to note for if there are younger listeners, Don Rickles was the voice of Mr. Potato Head in the Toy Story movies. So that's what you recognize his voice.
We're getting another Toy Story movie soon.
Really?
Yeah.
5?
Yep, it's Toy Story 5. It has to do with basically an iPad or a tablet is the new character that they're threatened by.
Interesting.
I love the Toy Story movies.
Yeah.
How can you not? The street where he's throwing football, Dingle is, that's the same street from the Monsters Are Due on Maple Street. So if it looks familiar, that's why. And also there's kind of if the Twilight Zone is like a shared universe with any kind of rules, which we've established it can't be, because the Twilight Zone it shifts and everything. Because the aliens in this, we've dealt with Martians already, and they're very different, right? Like in the other episodes that we've seen them in already, and Venusians will come up again. So this episode, I think, really answers that question of: is there a continuity concern? Or is the Twilight Zone just all these little pocket universes? I think that defines it for you. It's the latter.
The Twilight Zone will not be subject to your restrictions.
and then my one little note of my favorite moment in the episode when you get to describe it, but it's the way the Venusians do this little sideways shuffle where it looks like they're dancing.
It was great.
So good. I wonder if there's a GIF of that. It's perfect.
I have a favorite moment as well. When we get to it, I will mention it, and it's not specifically a part of the plot or the show. It's part of the making of it, which makes me so happy. To see that it's so clear. But anyway, we'll get to that.
Well, Oh, I'm sorry, Joe. Did you want to say something before we?
No, we're good.
Well, let's do it then. Let's get into it.
I'm just so excited. Okay, so the intro actually starts. Voiceover starts immediately after the episode starts. So first thing we pan down and we're seeing Don Rickles again. I was like, oh, it's him, and he still looks old.
He always looked old, and he always had kind of that big weird baby head. Like he had like a cartoon baby,
and he's got such a great his personality that he has in this is just him. He's been that forever, everywhere. So Mr. Sterling starts out, uniquely American institution known as the Neighborhood Bar. Reading left to right are Mr. Anthony O'Toole, proprietor, who waters his drinks like geraniums, but who stands foursquare for peace and quiet and for booths for ladies. This is Mr. Joseph J. Callahan, an unregistered bookie, whose entire life is any sporting event with two sides and a set of odds. His idea of meeting at the summit is any dialogue between a catcher and a pitcher with more than one man on base. And this animated citizen is every anonymous bettor who ever dropped rent money on a horse race, a prize fight, or a floating crap game, and who took out his frustrations and his insolvency on any vulnerable fellow barstool companion within arm's and fist's reach. And this is Mr. Luther Dingle, vacuum cleaner salesman whose volume of business is roughly that of a valet at a hobo convention. He's a consummate failure in almost everything, but is a good listener and has a prominent jaw.
A valet at a hobo convention?
Yeah. Wow. That's a turn of phrase. So the bettor, Don Rickles and Callahan, are arguing about a baseball game. And they're trying to, go back and forth about, he placed a bet and, he's pissed off because he's losing and he's trying to justify it. He ties that back to, in their conversation, their argument goes back to a boxing match where they disagreed on the result. And so Don Rickles is trying to get out of that one. I can't call him better. I just have to call him Don Rickles. Don Rickles goes over to Dingle and says, and tries to bring him in the argument. He's like, look, you saw that game. What did you think? And Mr. Dingle is just fantastic. It's Burgess Meredith adds a stutter to it, and he's just supernatural and plays that kind of meek character so well, and doesn't give Rickles the answer he wants, and so Rickles hauls off and smacks him, like punches him, and then everybody's fine, you know, after he punched him.
And also apparently Rickles has been abusing Dingle for some time now. Like this is he's punched him in the head several times.
Yes, and it won't be the last time this episode.
Yeah. Oh, I just wanted to make a quick comment. You know, you're talking about Burgess Meredith too. Like in Time Enough at Last, he's also this real meek character. And so they're very similar characters, but when we get to the Obsolete Man, it's such a different vibe. I think it really shows his range, you know, because he's much stronger and dignified and unflappable in that. It's just wild to see the types of characters he can play. It's so great.
Love that guy. So at this moment, the narration continues when in the background, the Martians arrive, and it's like a giant like suit type thing with two guys with big bald heads and antennas on top of their heads.
I wonder, there had to be some cosplay of this somewhere. It had to be difficult for two people to like share, you know, to be a two-headed creature with. Did it have two legs or did it have three legs to cover the middle?
I can't remember.
I don't know if they showed it.
Yeah, I wondered that too.
Yeah,
but it was like a big thing, and they were like, that was even arguing with itself at one point. So
they had hairy ears too, which I thought was an interesting. The Martians had the tips of their ears were pointed like Spock's, but it was all hair.
Yeah, just bizarre,
kind of gross.
And Sterling pops in with, and these two unseen gentlemen are visitors from outer space. They're about to alter the destiny of Luther Dingle by leaving him a legacy, the kind you can't hardly find no more. You can't hardly find no more. Wow.
I didn't catch that until you just pointed it out.
Yeah. In just a moment, a sad-faced perennial punching bag who missed even the caboose of life's gravy train. I'm sorry. That's awesome. A sad-faced perennial punching bag who missed even the caboose of life's gravy train. Wow.
It's incredible.
Okay. Missed even the caboose of life's gravy train. Will take a short constitutional into that most unpredictable region that we refer to as the Twilight Zone.
And for the record, I'm looking at a picture of the Martians. It looks like they dealt with the legs by just making the bottom part of them a cart that they're standing in. Yeah. So I guess they just wheeled around.
Perfect. Oh, they probably had trouble moving without breaking the weird like body part of their body. So
because it's almost like it looks like an old diving suit, kind of almost like the chest part, but made for two
diver,
for two torsos and two heads, and then they have the big ringed antennae that go. They look like spacey radio antennae straight up from their heads, and their heads themselves are also like have these bulbous, like they clearly have giant brains. Because there's a big bulb on top, you know.
Which have you ever seen the first episode, the pilot episode of Star Trek? I and my friends used to always refer to the aliens as the butt heads because they had what looked like a huge butt on their head.
Which is also a Twilight Zone actor as the leader.
Yeah?
Remember, we talked about her. She plays the kind of a coded male alien in that first episode of Star Trek.
Oh, that's right.
She's the
that blows
leader.
My mind.
Yeah, the leader of them.
Okay. So the Martians start arguing. Not arguing, discussing whether this is the appropriate subject. They're doing a test, and they said does not even have what Earthlings call minimum muscles. It was like,
we don't call them minimum muscles,
right? I was gonna say, what have you ever referred to as minimum muscles? Anyway, they decide to make him super strong and use him as a test subject, and so. Rickles is asking Dingle to pick a side again as part of another argument about another game, and when Dingle disagrees, Don Rickles hits him again. And the bartender's like, look, pal, look, you got to stop hitting people. You can't keep doing that better. And so what happens next? He gets shot by these waves as he's been hit. He's kind of sitting, his back is against the bar, and he's kind of sunk down by the bar stools, and the aliens kind of at an angle shoot him with their ray, and he gets kind of a look on his face, and he stands back up, and the bartender's like, look, you gotta stand up for yourself. You can't just let people punch you around. I mean, obviously he shouldn't be hitting you, but and then he picks up, Dingle is like talking to him, and he picks up his vacuum, and he's like kind of juggling it. And he's like, which again, you look at now and you're like, well, yeah, he's got this little vacuum thing. It's not very heavy. Well, vacuums back in this day, dude, were like tanks. Yeah. They were 600 pounds, and it was hard to move these around.
600 pounds.
Have you ever used one of those old-fashioned Kirby's?
Yeah, like the rolling ones are heavy as hell.
Yes, it's ridiculous. Yeah. Not 600 pounds, but like they're not light.
My understanding is they say that they are still considered the best vacuum. The original Kirby rolling canister vacuum is still considered to be like the most powerful and efficient vacuum. Like people collect that shit.
I hear that, but I think that's Kirby propaganda, just still making its way through the waves.
You might be right. It's that powerful, man. It resonates throughout generations. Right.
So powerful.
It's like KitchenAid mixers and Le Creuset Dutch ovens, all that shit that you heirloom appliances.
So all that happens, and he's flipping that around, and then Dingle's like, I'm gonna go, and he walks over and pulls the door off of its hinges and is just holding it there kind of in his hand, which you can see the cables, I think, in that scene.
It's a great prank to play on your friends.
Obvious, yeah.
Just take all the pins out of their door hinges.
Right. And then he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry about that," and he kind of puts it down where it should be to the bartender. The bartender kind of catches it, so it looks like it has some weight to it, and it's kind of a funny gag. So then he leaves and goes to the park, and he sits down in the park. Oh no, he's walking to the park. That's what it is. He's walking to the park, and this kid's like, "Hey, you vacuum salesman, what are you doing here? My dad told you to go away." And it was like, damn, kid, you're like yelling at this adult. And then he's like minding his business, like whatever, keeps walking, and the kid throws a fucking football at him. I was like, dude, you kid, what the hell? Like, just mean. And then he's like, oh, he kind of catches it and he tells the kid to go out for a pass, because he's going to throw it to him. And just very easygoing after being pegged with a football. So the kid goes running, and he throws it, and it goes flying. And there's another scene where it's still flying through the air. And there's a painter in the background who like falls off his ladder looking at it. And, yeah. And there's this great scene where there's a guy at a table and the open window, and the football flies through the window and then crashes through a door, like punches a hole in it. It's over the top and ridiculous, but it's just kind of cute. And then the kids were like super impressed, and then, blown away by it and whatever. And then he calls a taxi, and as the taxi comes up, he accidentally tears the door handle off. And then he leans over the taxi trying to apologize. And as he's leaning on it, the whole taxi goes up on two wheels on its side. And again, the guy on the ladder who's painting falls off again. It's like, okay, all right, well, we're very impressed by this.
Yeah.
So it gets pretty gaggy from there, but it was pretty funny. And then he goes to this park. And he sits down with the woman, and I didn't look it up, but he sits next to her, and he's like, can I tell you about my day? And she's like, sure. And she's got a little, like a baby in a stroller. And he's like, can I tell you, I swear I'm not a masher, but and if I were a masher, I blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what's a masher? I assume it's just somebody trying to hit on her or something.
Yeah.
but also Burgess Meredith is always looked like he's 60 or 70 years old. So you know what that was about. Anyway, he starts talking about his day, and it's kind of funny. He tosses in a couple of jokes about how he only sold one vacuum cleaner to a guy who was drunk, and he convinced it was a divining rod or something like that, which is, he's charming, but.
All right. A masher, I looked it up for you, in the 60s slang, was a man who made aggressive and unwelcome advances toward women.
Oh, well, there you go.
A lady killer or womanizer.
Gotcha. So basically most of the jerks of the time.
It came from the theater.
Oh, interesting.
In the 19th century, around theaters where male admirers of actresses were known as stage door Johnnies or mashers.
Were they the one who mashed people to get out of there or something? I don't know.
I
It was
guess
weird.
so. Stage door Johnny.
He's such a stage door Johnny.
I kind of
when
wish
he kisses,
Burgess
he tries
Meredith.
to mash my face. I don't know.
I wish Burgess Meredith had said stage door Johnny instead.
Yeah, I'm not a stage door Johnny here.
That's pretty good, Burgess Meredith.
Yeah. So at this point he's like talking about it, and then he's like, "Oh, can I show you something?" or something like that. It's a weird transition. She's like, "Whatever." So he goes behind the bench and lifts up with one hand the bench with her on it into the air, and she's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa." She's freaking out. And then he puts her back down, and then he walks over and starts breaking rocks in half. Because, like you do. And they're clearly like foam rocks.
Yeah.
But it's funny because it looks pretty genuine. And then there happens to be a photographer, a reporter nearby who's like, "Hey, let me get a photo. What's the deal?" And he's like, it's no deal. It's, this is who I am. And he's happens to take a picture of him going over, and he picks up a statue in the park and lifts it with one hand. And because the statue's got kind of a look to it, like it's like looking off in the distance, he takes his hat off and looks in the same direction. It's very like super corny, but it's funny.
It's a good time.
Charming.
It's a fun episode.
Yeah. And so it goes to commercial break. And when it comes back, he's waking up in his bed the next day. And there's already a story about him from lifting up the statue and all this. And people want to know more about him. And he wakes up and his alarm's going off. So he reaches over and just crushes the alarm clock, which I think was probably the same prop that they used from the promo that last week when we talked about Serling crushing the alarm clock, saying it's catching. And he walks over to the mirror and flexes, and then happens to have a phone book on his dresser and tears it in half. So like every opportunity to show how strong he is, all the gags, it was pretty funny. Then he's down at the bar again, and everybody's trying to sell him on, "Hey, you can join my circus type thing. You could be on my show. We would do a special on you." And he's just kind of taking it all in, enjoying all the attention. And then our person comes in of the TV show, your show of the unknown. That's Abernathy. That's James Milholland, who with the very pronounced affect of like, we were going to show you this amazing hello everyone,
Dabbing
that
sweat from his face with a handkerchief.
He's very what did you say last time? The Professor
he's like the Smith, Dr. Smith.
Yes.
It's interesting because
yeah,
that same actor was on the real Dr. Smith is also a Twilight Zone actor. And then we get this guy who's in that same kind of category.
Right.
But we just talked about him in 22.
That's right. He was the doctor in 22.
The real
So
Dr.
weird.
Smith. Yeah.
I think the thing about him is he's got his eyelashes. He's got very like long eyelash. Anyway, Dr. Smith, weird. So he comes in and they wheel in a giant TV camera that is somehow wireless because it's not connected to anything. So I don't know where they're recording that, but So he's like there and he's talking to it, and his microphone is attached to nothing, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
And he's like telling him, and he's like, can you give some demonstration? I think the idea is that Dingle's had a couple of drinks too, because he's kind of got that look in his face.
Oh, definitely.
Okay, so
he's feeling himself too.
Yes, totally feeling himself. And this is one of my favorite parts. He starts giving a demonstration of his powers, and he's trying to let me give you a demonstration of, and he's like grabbing the microphone and kind of talking into it again, and then so he kind of flexes his suit, stands up, and everybody's watching.
Don't you feel like we missed out on an era of WWF with Burgess Meredith?
That would have been awesome. If he'd lived longer, maybe he would have done like a promo with Rocky and Mr. T and all of them, just been the ringside guy, right?
That would have been fantastic.
So in this moment, that makes me laugh so hard. And it's subtle because you don't like, unless you're really thinking about it, he winds up with his right hand. He flexes with his right hand, winds up his fist like he's going to spin it and turn and punch the wall, and then punches the wall with his left hand, which is such a silly gag, but it just tickled me because, he's like, oh, other arm.
It was really funny.
Punches a hole in the wall. And then he points to a table, and he's like, this table here. He's not saying anything, but he's, and then just smashes it with his hand, and it breaks in half, and everybody's like, hey. Then he walks over to a stool, and instead of using a whole hand, he's like, nope, I'm just going to use 2 fingers. And he lifts up the stool with 2 fingers, tears it out of the floor of the bar. And then he walks over to Better, Don Rickles, and they're like, oh, like they know what their relationship is. And Better's like, Rickles is like, all bygones be bygones, right? No hard feelings. And first he smashes the cigar into his face, which Don Rickles basically just eats the cigar. And then he picks him up over his head and he starts spinning him around. And this is my favorite moment, because when it clips to him spinning around, it shows the stunt actor spinning him around that looks nothing like Burgess Meredith. 100% totally different person, and then clips back to Burgess Meredith. I mean, it's those moments you wouldn't see them back then, right? It's the 60s. It's everybody's got a black and white TV. Everybody's got they're such tiny tubes anyway. You're not going to notice those details, but I love it. It's totally different actor. And obviously a stunt guy who must be just doing something that he's still not like. I don't think Don Rickles was being held up, obviously. But he was on wires or something spinning around. Anyway. So he comes back down, and then Dingle says he's going to lift the entire building, which I'm like thinking to myself, you could try to lift the whole building, but you would just break whatever it is you're lifting.
Right.
Which, in fact, is pretty much what happens. He goes over to this big support beam, and during this time, the 2-headed Martian has returned and is like disappointed that he just used his strength to show off to everybody, and so they're going to take his strength away. And so he goes over to this beam and he starts lifting it, and it cracks right above his head. And I'm like, yeah, you're going to tear the building down and kill everyone. But right after it cracks, he loses his strength and he just kind of stops. And then he's kind of feeling himself, and people are like, what's going on? So then he
forced out a poopy.
Yeah.
Pushed too hard.
He goes over, and I can't remember what the first thing he does. I think the first thing, maybe he gets picked on by a Better again. No, that was the last thing. Okay, so he like tries to smash the table again, and can't. He bashes his hand, and everybody laughs at him. And then he tries to punch the wall again and breaks his hand.
Yeah.
And then Don Rickles comes over again and tweaks his nose or something. And anyway, he's clearly lost all his strength. And everybody's like, oh, it was just a fake thing. And it's like, he broke the freaking support beam in your bar. What part of that was fake? Anyway, and everybody. So he gets punched. I think maybe he either tweaks his nose or he punches him. Don Rickles does, and
He
the
does the
bartender's
tweak
like,
of the
all
nose.
right.
You're right about the nose, because I remember thinking about the Karate Kid in that scene.
Yeah. And the bartender's like, all right, everybody, enough of that. Leave him alone. He's humiliated enough. Sends everybody out of the bar, and Dingle's there and kind of, sad, and you could see he was almost breaking down in tears because he'd lost all his strength. And as everybody starts leaving, next to the Martians, these two little kids with little mustaches and bald heads, bald wigs on.
And they got antennae too, but they have like Andorian style, like fleshy antennae.
Yeah. And they're like, the best part is they start talking to them. They're like, Venusians, hello. They're just kind of greeting each other. And the Venusians are these little kids, look like maybe they're somewhere between 8 and 10 or something. And dark rings around their eyes and mustaches, and they're voiced by grown men. So the lip syncing looks like they're like, talking in really deep voices, which is pretty charming.
They're so casual with the Martians. Yeah. The way they talk is like when you run into someone in the grocery store.
Yeah, and apparently everybody's invisible to the Earthlings, and they're like, hey, so what are you guys here for? And they're like, we were just doing an experiment. And the Venetians are like, oh yeah, we're here to do an experiment. And they said, do you have any good test subjects? And he's like, well, that guy over there is pretty much a sad sack. So, and they're like, oh, great, thanks. So the Martians disappear, and like you said, the two Venusians go do this little.
It's kind of like they're gonna do it's almost like the sidestep of the Thriller dance, but it's also that twinkle toes kind of the sound effect Joe was just making from the cartoons of someone going. It's maybe one of the greatest Twilight Zone moments, honestly, visually.
If you've ever seen a ballet dancer go up on their tiptoes and do that little ting, 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 it looks very much like that, except their arms are just outstretched.
And their little antennae are jiggling around, and they're just kind of adorable to begin with.
It's really cute. And so they go over there and they're talking about Dingle, and they're like, all right, we're going to give him 500 times the intelligence of a regular human. And so they zap him with the beams, bloop, 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 bloop. And there's with everyone else gone, it's just Callahan and Better and the bartender with Dingle. And there's a baseball game they're watching on TV. And Dingle, you're hearing this kind of guys on base, and they're arguing about what might happen next. And Dingle comes over and he starts talking about all these. Well, they're like, what do you think's going to happen, Dingle? I think, and he starts rattling off all these just what sounds like really big words. The algebraic. He's something. The algebraic, and it's like the algebraic, which doesn't even make sense. And then he's like, blah 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 blah. He's going to hit a home run, and moments later, boom, he hits a home run, and everybody's all impressed. And then they start talking some more about how brilliant he is, and he just starts babbling about all these very technical terms, and we get the voiceover from Mr. Serling. Exit Mr. Luther Dingle, former vacuum cleaner salesman, strongest man on Earth, and now mental giant. These latter powers will very likely be eliminated before too long, but Mr. Dingle has an appeal to extraterrestrial note-takers as well as to frustrated and insolvent bet losers. Offhand, I'd say he was in for a great deal of extremely odd periods, simply because there are so many inhabited planets who send down observers, and also because, of course, Mr. Dingle lives his life with one foot in his mouth and the other in the Twilight Zone.
So they were going to turn this into its own series at one point about Mr. Dingle, and I guess he was going to have the intelligence. I don't know what, but in the series, if he was going to have the strength, the intelligence, or if it was going to get multiple powers or whatever. But the idea was to do that, and it just never came to fruition.
Interesting.
What might have been.
Right? I don't know how you keep that going. I mean, it would be it would be kind of fun to have like week after week, but then it would be just, I don't know, it would feel to go off the rails pretty quick. So
yeah, if you're sticking with the comedy format, like what do you do with him? It's not like he's a superhero.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Apparently there was a short story version of this episode, and at the end of it, he took his brilliance to the world at Harvard. So,
oh, really? Was it? It was
Yeah.
like a somebody wrote like a short story sequel to it, or
yeah, there's just a little snippet on Wikipedia that said in the short story version of the episode, the better is named Hubert Kransky, and the two-headed Martian is named Zerthia, and Dingle also beats up Hubert at one point, and additionally, Dingle takes his brilliance to change the world at Harvard.
did it say if Serling wrote the short story or not? Because he's the only writer credited on the episode. I wonder if which
I don't
came
know.
first.
I kind of get the feeling that it was maybe an adaptation after the fact, but
yeah,
um,
interesting
anyway.
stuff. That's
Yeah.
all right. Next week, what are we doing? I can't remember.
Static.
Static.
And actually, I did watch ahead of this one. It's interesting, and then to me, the ending was weird. So we have weirdness to look forward to.
I like weirdness.
Yeah,
Gives us something to talk about.
exactly.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add about Mr. Dingle?
Oh, I just love Burgess Meredith.
Me too.
I miss that character. I think he's got one of those. I miss that time of like those distinctive voice actors like that, where they're just. And again, later he became a voice actor, but such a great expression and personality and all that stuff. So
yeah,
good stuff.
True of not just Burgess Meredith, but a lot of the people in this episode are. We'd mentioned the bartender, the Anthony O'Toole character. James Westerfield is another one of those kind of distinctive personalities.
Sure, Don Rickles, of course. Yeah, all of them.
Fantastic. This one's like a
Awesome.
character actor quadro hit you in the face with the host, the TV host character too, the James Milholland.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
It's a treasury of the funny actors.
Good fun one.
All right, we'll see you guys next week. Thanks, Joe.
Until then, thanks everybody.